Hello, amazing second graders. We are going to continue talking about poems for reading this week, and I'm going to continue to share a new poem style each day, but I've decided to change this up a little bit. Yesterday, I had you write an acrostic poem. And instead of doing a new poem every day, I think I'm going to hold off because I don't want you to get overwhelmed. So I've decided that every single day I'm going to share a new poem like I originally did, but instead of you writing a new one every day, on Friday, you're going to pick a poem that you really like. So either acrostic, or today I'm going to show you shape, and then I'm going to be sharing you a few more different styles throughout the week. So you're going to pick one of those, and you are going to write a poem to a woman in your life you care about. So it could be your mom, it could be your grandma, it could be your babysitter, it could be your aunt, any woman that you really care about, because on Sunday is Mother's Day, and we want to show them that we love and care about them. And what is better than writing them a poem? So I am going to read you a poem in just a second, and then I'm going to show you how I write shape poems. Now, when we are reading this shape poem, we are going to notice something called simile. So, a simile is when you compare something to something else. For example, have you ever heard your mom say, "Oh, your room looks like a pigsty"? Now, it doesn't really look like a pigsty. She's just saying it looks really messy, and we know pigs are messy, so that's why they say that. Or something like, that girl's heart is like gold, so meaning she's really nice and really caring. Now, is her heart really gold? No, it just means that she's really caring. So I'm gonna read this to you, and I want to see if you can find there's at least two similes in this poem. So the key to this is looking for the word like. Okay, if it has the word like in it, it could very well be a simile, especially in poems. That's a nice style that a author likes to use, or a poet likes to use, to make their poems more interesting. All right, so let's look at this poem now. The poem is In a Twist, and I told you that we were talking about shape poems today. So if you look at this poem, you'll notice that it is written in a specific shape. So if you use the word twist and look at the shape of this poem, what do you think this poem is going to be about? You got it. It's going to be about tornadoes because it's in the shape of a tornado. All right, let's read. We felt the rain, wind, and hail, and then the thunder and lightning came. The winds gathered up and began to spin, like a spinning top, sucking up dust like a vacuum cleaner. Ooh, I heard the word like in that sentence. The twister went around and around like a merry-go-round. The gusts of air were picking up dust. It continued to roar loudly, destroying everything along the way. Soon it was gone. So while I was reading, you probably picked out the word like a few times. I see it up here when it says like a vacuum cleaner. So is a tornado really a vacuum cleaner? No, but it acts like a vacuum cleaner because it's sucking up all the dust. All right, and the other time I hear it, it says the twister went around and around. Around and around like a merry-go-round. So they're comparing the twist of the tornado moving to a merry-go-round turning in circles. All right, second grade. Now that you've seen an example of a shape poem, I am going. All right, second grade. Now I'm going to show you what I do and what I think about when I am writing a poem myself. Now these rules can apply to any type of poem, and I'm going to show you how to do them for a poem, a shape poem. So the three things I think about are my senses, my feelings, and my thoughts. So when we're talking about senses, we're talking about smell, sight, hearing, touch, and taste. When we're talking about feelings, we're talking about things like excited, nervous, happy, tired, things like that. And then three is what do you think, okay? So whatever the poem is talking about, what are you thinking about with that specific thing? Now, in this poem, they talked about similes, and we already talked about this a little bit. So, a simile is in the poem, an example was the twister went around like a merry-go-round. The key to a simile is having the word like in it. So, this first one, I know I've used these examples again, but just to review them again. Her heart is like gold, so saying that she is a really nice person. And this next one, he eats like a pig, so he eats really messy. Now, he's not really a pig, we're just using it as an example to explain to our audience what he eats like. He's messy, okay? And it's an interesting way to say that instead of just saying, oh, he's a messy eater. A simile is a nice way to say it in a more interesting way. So shape poems don't have to have similes. They could rhyme, like we've said in the past. They could be using repeated lines like we've done in the past. This is just another way to make poems interesting. And I'm going to try to use a simile in my poem today just to show you in case you would like to use them in your poems. All right, so the very first thing I did is I went through sense, feeling, and touch when I was making, and thinking when writing my poem. And since we're talking about nature today, I'm writing my poem about the sun. So my first thing was senses. So it's warm, bright, you can hear birds, you can smell flowers. And then secondly, the feelings I feel when the sun is out is happy, excited, and energetic. I feel like I have so much energy when the sun comes out and I just want to do so many things because I'm super excited and I just get so excited. Clearly, I had a lot of energy this weekend when it was nice out. And then 3, what I think when the sun is out is I never want it to end. Those days are always the most amazing days. So now that I have all my thoughts down, I'm going to show you the fun part, turning it into a shape. So the first thing I do when I'm making a shape poem is I draw it out with a pencil before I write the words. So you'll see right here I drew a picture of the sun with pencil. And then just so I didn't waste any of your time, I would go over that with pen or whatever it is and write my poem, and then I would erase the pencil. I didn't erase it yet, but when I'm done, I would erase it so that it looks really nice. As you can see, in the Twister poem, the words took up the whole tornado, but in mine, it's just the outline. It's just the outline. I didn't write inside of the sun, but you can if you want. I just wanted to show you an example of both. Now listen and see if you can find where my simile is in my poem. The sun is like a warm smile. I never want the happiness to end. Warm, bright, sweet, exciting, alive, energy. So, did you find the simile? You got it. The sun is like a warm smile. Now, it isn't a warm smile, but instead of saying the sun makes me happy, I wanted to think of something else that makes me happy, which is when people smile at me. That always makes me happy. So I turned it into a simile. And just like that, you can see another example of a shape poem. You'll also notice that some parts aren't even sentences. I just have a list of words, of feelings, and thoughts, and senses that the sun brings to me. So, shape poems are super fun and probably one of my favorite poems because not only is it interesting to listen to, but it's also interesting to look at. All right, second grade, now that I am finished, there is a quick assignment underneath this video that asks you what a simile is and what our poem is about. So if you need to look back at some of the stuff that I wrote down, I will leave picture links underneath so you can reference the example of a simile and things like that. All right, second grade, if you have any questions, leave a comment or join my Zoom session.